What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to Blood Motorsport Lab. And here today, I'm basically making a video for all of my people that's in the Mercedes community that basically have naturally aspirated 4.3, 5.0, 5.4 liter naturally aspirated, and they want to slap on a M113k supercharger. So I'm gonna go through steps today on what you need to do, because a lot of people, they got like bill sheets. A lot of people don't want to read. They rather just somebody explain it to them because they could comprehend better. So I'm here today and I'm gonna actually show y'all exactly what need to be done when converting your 4.3, 5.0 or 5.4 naturally aspirated into a supercharged monster. So let's start by showing you the parts that you would need. Basically, you would need a supercharger, fully assembled with plenum, throttle body, snout, injector, fuel rails, everything that comes with the supercharger from the M113k, okay? Now, the next thing you would need is the harmonic balancer, okay? This is for the K. So you have to replace this with your single rib one to the dual supercharge. Then, another major part is the water pump. So you would say to yourself, well, it looks the same, but it's not the same. So this holds the idler pulley here, and it's a dual idler pulley that goes here. Then you have to get this, which is a idler for the supercharger. So it goes like that, okay? So, and this is actually an idler pulley that actually bolts on, but I'm gonna show you how you could basically get around that, because M113s, certain M113 casings are different, okay? So those are the parts you would need, and don't forget, you need a thermostat housing off of any M113K. Don't forget, if I didn't say it again, the wire harness, which is the engine harness, okay? And you would need the ECU from the donor M113K vehicle. So, if you have the supercharger, the damper, the water pump, the dual idle pulleys, the idler pulley bracket, and of course, the belt. And I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah. So when you're doing this change, if you have an M113 non-oil cool, which is not this one. So this one it has an oil cooler. So now this one would need more modifications to get it to work successfully. So the first thing I want to show y'all what you have to do to the engine. If your engine looks like this, that has this oil cooler, you got to do a little more work. So I'm gonna actually describe and explain what need to be done on different variants of the M113, no matter 4.3, 5.0, 5.4. So first thing you got to do, if you got a 5.0 or 4.3, the secondary air bracket will be in the way. So you cannot mount the supercharger, okay? So you will have to cut this, okay? You will have to cut this off, and you will have to basically shave it down as close as possible to make it look as smooth as possible, like it came from the factory. And that's basically for the clearance. So the supercharger would be able to just directly bolt on here and will clear this piece you cut off. So if you ever cut this off and then you try to bolt it down and it's not fully seating, you will have to grind off more. But don't forget, you have to take this thermostat off and you have to put the M113k on there, okay? So now, since this is the engine with the oil cooler that's here, basically this upper water hose that's coming from the block, you will have to either cut it off and weld it shut. And then on the water pump side, which you're not gonna have this no more because you're gonna switch to the M113k water pump. So when you put the new water pump on, it no longer will have this line. So the block, well, the timing cover will have the other water hose. So you will have to cut the fitting off and either weld it up. You know, I'm gonna say this, which I wouldn't do it, but it works. You could cut it off, make sure it's dry, clean it up nice, and JB weld it, let it sit for a day. I know you be hyped, you wanna put the JB weld on, it say JB quick. You wanna be like 20 minutes later, I know it's dry because it feels hard. Just let it sit, be patient, okay? So, now, that's on these, right? Now, basically from 2001 up, okay? And I'm gonna get into that in a minute. So, we're gonna go through the description of the motors, different variants. So basically, if you got a E500, CL500, some of them do not come with this oil cooler. So if you do not have this oil cooler, it will be much easier for you to do the swap. So basically, if you have the model that did not have this oil cooler right here, basically you would just have to just cut this off, change the thermostat housing, you know, and all the accessories in the harness, and you're ready to go. Okay? So, what I recommend is before you actually cut it, make sure you cover the intake ports, the runners, well, not the runners, but the intake ports on the head. You don't want no aluminum shavings, or you don't want to drop a screw in there, anything. So, like me, I'll tape it up. I'm actually going to start selling some block off plates for all the people that want to do the conversion. To make it easy, you just put 2 bolts on it and it cover, and you could cut it off and don't have to worry about nothing. So now, if you got a 55 model, CLK 55, C55, any of the 55 models, the secondary air, it does not come on the timing cover. So that would be another direct bolt on without modifying the cover as far as for the secondary air, which is blocking it on the non-AMG model vehicles. Okay, so the 4.3 is the exact same spec, the same way you put the 5.0, it'll be the same thing for the 4.3. So we got all that tied up. You will have to get the ECU coded and adapted to the vehicle. And I just want to show you this. So you like, okay, well, it's a throttle body. But these throttle bodies come on the same engines, okay? And this is basically the ME 2.8, and this would be like the ME 2.0, which is like a VCR box, which is old. So with this throttle body now, you know, it hasn't been done as far as supercharging it with the ME 2.8 unless you rewire a lot. So if your car has this throttle body, it's straightforward, okay? You can swap out to the ME 2.8, M113k engine computer, and everything will be basically straightforward, okay? And so everything else you can use stock. You can use your stock transmission, your stock converter, your stock manifolds that came off the naturally aspirated version. And if you have any questions in regarding the swap, or you need help, all you got to do is basically comment below and I'll get right back to you. And if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you can PM me anytime, 24-hour service. And any more questions, like I said, just hit me up. I just want to make sure I don't miss nothing. Let me see. So basically, E55, CL55s, when they got over 100,000 miles, horsepower ranges from 380 to 480, which a lot of the M113K cars will be on the lower end, like 400, 380 horsepower. Now, a lot of people is like, why he ain't mentioning nothing about the horsepower increase? So, due to the compression in the 5.0, right? Even though the motor bore and displacement is smaller than a 55. So, basically, with this 5.0 motor with higher compression, the car actually makes more horsepower than a M113K in a stock form, basically motor to motor, both in stock form. Just adding the supercharger on the 5.0, it will make more horsepower than the stock M113K. Even though the displacement is bigger, the compression is lower. So with that being said, a lot of people from back in the days, their geometry to this was the lower the compression, you could run more boost. Yes, it's true. But with these vehicles, the horsepower gold, is basically over 500 horsepower. You will make over 500 horsepower without headers, all of that, with just directly bolting this on to an M113, naturally aspirated, okay? If I'm missing something, again, comment below and let me know. And I'm gonna just run the list again. Supercharger with everything, injectors and everything. M113K engine harness, engine computer from the M113K car, balancer, water pump, thermostat housing, double idler, single idler, with the bracket. Well, with the bracket, let me show you. And if you need help, okay, I'll give you the part numbers to everything you would need. But, to be honest with y'all, a kit like this, always remember, supercharger will always cost more than turbo. And why I say that basically is because for this platform, to buy all of this stuff, if you don't have a buddy, that's your true buddy, and just basically gonna look out for you because he don't need it. Just this little bit of stuff right here with the ECU, you're looking at over $4,000. And I'm just being real. So if it's in parts, you over $4,000, give or take. That's just for the parts. Now the labor, on the other hand, depending on who you go to, I don't know their labor rate. But like something like this, you know, at Blood Motorsport Lab, you know, DM me. I'll give you a great price. You know, I work with everybody. I want to see everybody go fast. Okay? But subscribe, comment below, share, and thank y'all. And BMS we trust. 100, y'all.